That's fair to say. And he just ignores it the next day and still endorses them anyway. No, I'm like, oh, okay. That's immediate donkey of the day in any other scenario. But, well, if you want to keep getting these speaking engagements, you want to keep being brought on to CNN like Charlamagne the guy knows anything about politics, if you want to, you be like Andrew Yang and get this CNN spot where you get to pretend like you're kind of a progressive, but kind of against the neoliberal establishment and ride the fence, like, that's what you do. You sign the CAA. If you want to be like Alyssa Milano and have your career revitalized after your horrible acting and no one wanted to hire you before you joined CAA. And so you start seeing how everything is interconnected. The media is interconnected with the agencies, are interconnected with the parties, are interconnected with, the foreign policy establishment, and they want to focus on Jimmy DORE, fighter for Medicare for all. That's what they want to focus on. It's crazy. It's comical. It's actually, I can only laugh because it's sad. It really is.
It is sad. It is, but you got to keep smiling and keep on going because the moment is now, and this is actually happening. So we've actually created a moment, Niko, where something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And
it's happening right now. We're seeing it. I think the fact that these people are being exposed, like the neo-progressives who have been able to hide behind brands bigger than theirs in the past over the last 4 years, they're being exposed in real time. In my opinion, that's a net positive for the left.
Yes, that is definitely. And I subscribe to the Ice Cube theory of, okay, Trump's gone on day one. Now what?
Mm-hmm.
Where's our bailout? Where's our bailout? 60% of all businesses that close are closed permanently right now.
Yeah.
Where's our bailout? And guess the only show that was which was screaming like my hair was on fire was my show because I had Matt Stoller and Dylan Radigan come on my show and explain to me what was happening in the CARES Act and how Bernie screwed us in the CARES Act. And so those guys, Dylan Radigan wrote a New York Times best-selling, award-winning book about this shit, and he told my audience, that's why my audience grew, that's why my audience didn't turn on me when I was telling them the truth about the Squad and Bernie Sanders, and that's why because they had the information. Well, nobody else, still to this day, if you look at the other YouTube hosts, the best you'll get out of them on the CARES Act was it was a bad vote. That's the best you'll get out of them. And
some even will pretend like some people didn't vote for it.
Yeah, and then some of them pretend that AOC didn't vote for it, which is a lie. Even now, I was just on with Crystal Ball, and she's fully aware that every one of the Squad voted for the CARES Act. She doesn't believe that bullshit either. And I got to big thanks to Crystal Ball and Hill and Sagar for having me on because they're endorsing this, and their video I think had a big to do because they're mainstream. I mean, that's real media, the Hill.
Oh yeah, every time I watch a YouTuber, it goes to the Hill now. So luckily, I like Sagar and Crystal. So, but every time I watch a YouTube video, it goes straight to their show.
So they're established. They're quote unquote establishment media, which was very helpful that they covered it because they're the only establishment that covered this in the proper way. So I cannot tell you how helpful that is. Because Wikipedia won't let you give an entry with a link to your video or to my video because we're not considered real news. But Crystal Ball and the Hill, they're considered real news. So now I can. So we do it. It was such a big shot in the arm to this force the vote that she did that, and so I just couldn't be more thankful to her. She was on board. She understood the moment, and she got out in front of it.
And I think it should be mentioned. Obviously, y'all diverged on how you felt people should vote this election, right? And yet you still understood that your goals are ultimately the same. And you said you're going to fight regardless of who won. Obviously, Crystal Ball, made it very clear. Okay, just because I'm voting for Biden, it doesn't mean that I'm not about to hold the Democrats' ass to the fire. And she kept her word. And y'all, you go on the show, and now, cool, now these damn candidates are out the way. Let's get down to the issues. And for her and Sagar and the Hill to create that bridge once again on the issue, it's demonstrative of what we should be seeing across the board. Just because we disagreed about how we vote doesn't mean we disagree on the issues we fight on. I thought, So give a huge shout out to the Hill. Go ahead.
No, you're 100% right, and that's what Crystal showed. Crystal Ball showed real leadership. I couldn't be more thankful to her. Brianna Joy Gray also wrote a great piece in Current Affairs. That's another mainstream news outlet, so that's another link we could put in with, these are what's considered, reliable media. So I couldn't be more thankful to Brianna Joy Gray. She's really stuck her chin out. She's also got it kicked in, just like me. And so I know the pain that causes, or not the pain, but the anxiety that can cause. And
it's traumatic a little bit. No matter how strong you are as a person, we get the mentions, we get the tags, we get all that, we see the videos, people DM us, and yeah, we learn to fight through it because you can't do this without having thick skin. But over a while, I mean, you could even see Bree on Twitter she's done. Like, she's done with these people because she's the sweetest person in the world. They can't make the same, they can't use the same argument against Bree as they can use against you, as they try to use against you. And so they just come up with something new. They come up with something new, right? And it's, oh, well, you must be an Uncle Tom then, actually, since you're not a comedian. We can't pretend like you're an alcoholic. We can't say you're an asshole. So, we can't say you voted for Tulsi. We can't say you voted for, or you can't say you voted for Joe Stein, which is a good thing. But, you can't say any of that stuff. So it's, oh, well, you must be an Uncle Tom. That's actually what it is. It's always something to distract from the issue. Always.
Always something to distract from the issue, of course. Exactly right.
And I want to say this, before I let you go, because I'm pretty sure you have a show to do. So the thing that always interested me over the last couple of months was how Bree's been treated, how you've been treated, how we've been treated, how independents have been treated, and then, of course, how Ice Cube is treated when he's like, okay, both parties are full of shit, right? And then Lil Wayne endorsed Donald Trump. No one actually said really anything except for that day. So it's another rapper, more popular, I would imagine, at this point than Ice Cube is, who outright endorsed Trump, almost no coverage. When Ice Cube came out and said, well, actually, no, we should all be independent of both dynastic parties, he got flacked for weeks. Yeah. Jimmy comes out and says the same thing, flack for weeks. Bree leaves Bernie's campaign, said the same thing, flat. Nina said the same thing, flat. Tulsi, the Convo Couch, whoever, everybody who says don't trust the duopoly, those are the people that everyone says you should hate. And now we are seeing, once again, everyone who is saying, oh, Ice Cube was voting for Trump, knowing damn well he wasn't, that Jimmy's an Assad apologist, knowing damn well he wasn't, and defending people like AOC and the establishment and Nancy Pelosi and their establishment. All of a sudden, they hate Medicare for all. Like, they don't want to fight for Medicare for all. That's all I can say. I can't say you hate Jimmy, because this conversation is about Jimmy. It didn't start started because of Jimmy, but it started because we need health care. And right. You are trying to kill a movement for health care to settle a grudge with a person. So what exactly are your goals? And is the beef really about Jimmy or healthcare, or is it really about your desire to latch on and hold on to the brand of Democratic establishment, the Democratic Party, because that's where your money's been coming from. That's where your discussions have been coming from, your discourse and your content and the people you bring on and the access you have and the network you've been using to stay afloat. It seems like that's what y'all are latching on to, because the moment that we break up the duopoly, well, then you might have to actually start talking about issues. And God forbid, y'all got to start talking about that, because I know a lot of y'all won't make it long. Jimmy, where can everybody find you at? Although I'm pretty sure at this point everybody knows. But go ahead and let everybody know where to find you.
YouTube.com/The Jimmy Dore Show. There you go.
YouTube.com/Jimmy Dore Show. Go check out Jimmy's website as well. He says he got the General Strike up there. He has the Force to Vote effort up there. And, of course, Jimmy is on Twitter just roasting people. I saw that roast from about a certain climate activist with just one post with a screenshot. Woo! Boy! Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. That was, I fell out of my chair when I saw that shit.
I actually would like to talk about that.
Go ahead. Please.
So, there's this guy, Josh Fox, who did that movie Gasland, right? And so everybody's against fracking. And so ever since then, that guy's been taking money from like the Rockefellers and shit like that, and he's been punching left. He's been Russiagating. Anybody who's to his left is a McCarthy smears. He went on a show, and I saw this on Katie Halper. She viewed it. She showed it. And he said, well, I don't have any evidence, so I don't want to name names, but Katie Halper and Matt Taibbi are Russian infiltrators.
Are you, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? You didn't see that video?
No.
Oh, you got to go get
Please send me that shit. I'm going to cover that. That's insane.
Yeah, I think, Katie Helper covered it in a live stream. I don't know if she dropped it as its own video, but she definitely covered it. It's fucking insane. You got to see it. He goes, I don't have any evidence, so I don't want to name names, but Katie Helper and Matt Taibbi, Aaron Mate, and Lee Camp, and Max Blumenthal are all Russian infiltrators. And I was like, why did you leave me out?
Oh, no, he's scared of you, bro.
And then later, and they came back, and they said, I forgot Jimmy Dore. I was like, thank you. I should be the first one. So
no, Josh has clearly he's clearly an infiltrator, speaking of which.
He's definitely an infiltrator, and that guy definitely got banned from WBAI studios. My show airs on WBAI in New York and KPFK in Los Angeles and a bunch of other stations around the country on the Pacifica Network. And Josh Fox's show got kicked off at WBAI. Not only that, he's banned personally from the WBAI studios because of sex harassment shit. He also, you saw that shit where he screwed the indigenous people out of their own money. So the guy's got nothing but a bad track record, and he does that
Josh Fox.
greenwashing.
That's what you're talking about.
Right? He's there to make the corporation look like they're doing a nice thing. That's what Josh Fox is there for. And so he came out and he tried to say that I was committing lateral violence against the movement because I was criticizing a congressperson, because I was screaming into a webcam about a congressperson. He said I was committing lateral violence against the movement, and then I just had to let everybody know who he was, just like I just let everybody watching this show know who he is.
I noticed he didn't respond to that tweet.
And of course not. Of course he didn't respond to any of that stuff. He did block me.
That's what they do. That's generally what they do. When you come, that was Jimmy. That was a bomb. That was a bomb that you dropped on him, and for all the world to see. I was like, I cannot believe he just did that. And then I'm like, but people don't realize, like, Josh Fox has been awful for years. He attacked Jill Stein, who was like Dr. Jill Stein, better than any Democrat.
An actual environmentalist.
Literally, this is what she does. Was at Standing Rock, right? Got arrested for being, for vandalizing a dump truck or whatever, oil rig. Like, bro, and you're gonna attack Jill Stein, but hey, we gotta vote for Hillary though. Well, didn't you say I am never banning fracking?
Bulldozer.
Didn't you just say we're never banning fracking? Hold on, what's the movie about again? I think I'm confused. It's almost like somebody paid him. Because he was already in the creative field before he made that movie. He just this story conveniently fell into his lap, and that's where Gaslands came from. And it's almost like somebody paid him to become an activist.
See, that's like getting Malcolm X to vote for George Wallace. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it's like, and it's insane. But they will say this shit with a straight face. I hate Joe Biden, but I'm voting for him, and you should too. No, I don't think. Maybe the definition of hate has changed over the last couple of years.
What happened was people decided to stop demanding anything for their vote. That became the adult thing to do, Niko. You don't want to ever demand anything for your vote. And we just saw that horrible meeting that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had with all those black activists, right? You saw how he talked down to them like they were his servants.
And they didn't say anything back, bro. That's what killed me.
They didn't say, that's right. And when I covered that, I said I tried to tell everybody who was pledging their vote to him that you should not do that until he offers you something. And this is why. Because now he's got your vote. He's president. He ain't never running for president again because he's demented and he knows it. So he can tell you to go fucking fuck yourself is exactly what he did to black people. But I guess he didn't scream it, but he came pretty close to screaming it, actually. And
weird. I didn't see anything about that on Ben's show. I didn't see anything about that on Ben's show, so I never found out about it, Jimmy. I thought that he was really about, attacking this white supremacy that we see on the left. And yet I haven't seen anything about it. I think he might have mentioned it once, but he's done a really good job ignoring all of everything that's coming out about Joe Biden lately. But you can't get them MSNBC sides, calling out a Democrat in the middle of an election season. You can't do that. So maybe that's why we haven't heard anything about it. But Kamala sat there quietly. The activists sat there quietly, and I'm like, so this is how we get things done now, huh? Like, this is how we get things done. Like, they made very reasonable and respectable arguments. God.
It was unbelievably reasonable. It was unbelievably respectful. And it was nothing but contempt and disrespect and scorn coming from Joe Biden for the people who he's supposed to call his base. Could you imagine Trump talking to a bunch of evangelicals like that? Hey, fuck you. I already said shit about abortion. I don't have to do anything. I'm not doing anything.
He's opposite. He will ingratiate himself with his base, like to the point where it's unnecessary.
Yes.
and yeah, but you're 100% correct. And then, of course, and I just, if you don't mind, I'd like to use this opportunity to remind everybody that Breonna Taylor was literally killed by cops, and then the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, lied and said that the jury didn't think that the cops deserved to be prosecuted. And he got caught because a whistleblower came out from the jury, New York Times covered it, saying that we never got a chance to prosecute those cops. We never got that opportunity. So that's a lie. And we all thought that they should have been prosecuted. So that was bullshit. And then, of course, it comes out as a major gentrification project, and it got federal funding. So this was a whole, capitalism killed Breonna Taylor, the corrupt policing institutions killed Breonna Taylor, and this federal government killed Breonna Taylor. And we saw the Democrats raise millions off of Breonna Taylor's death. Millions. Haven't heard a fucking word about it since this election's been over.
That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why we're making a big push. That's why we got hashtag #ForceTheVote, ForceTheVote.org. Go there and sign the petition. This is a real chance for us to exercise power, to rise above petty politics and personalities, and make a big difference in people's lives for the rest of the history of this country. We're gonna bring the United States into the 20th century with healthcare.
Amen. When you can not have to focus on your health, go ahead.
I know it's the 21st century, but we're going to bring it into the 20th century.
We need to retroactively bring that shit, right? And if you can, as a person who's very, very blessed enough to have TRICARE from the military, if you have the ability to not focus on your health because you know, okay, if something happens, I can just go see somebody. I need to see somebody. You can do so much more with your life. It's insane. Like, I never thought about it until I hit about, I'm turning 32 in a few days on the 27th. I'm like, man, how many times would I have, like, I've been in the hospital like 6 times for emergencies. I'm pretty sure that I would have accrued more than what would have been my school loans. Like, and every decision I would have made going forward would have had to account for my medical bills that I don't have. And, like, when you think about that, how do you pay attention to politics when, like, you don't have health care? Like, you're more worried about paying attention to your you know, I got to get these hours, I got to work 2 jobs, I have to, you know, work a full-time job and become a waitress or a waiter. Like, that's insanity. That's no way. It's like, we don't have a dignified life here. We don't. Like, the majority of the country does not. And we
don't know that. You're right. We don't have a dignified life here. This is a third world country.
Yeah. It is, and so I appreciate what you're doing with this Force the Vote. I appreciate more than anything, honestly, you using your platform to do this. A lot of people enriched themselves, and a lot of people got rich off of Bernie's movement. We both know that. A lot of people have got rich and have never done anything but use that money to then re-enrich themselves and then enrich their network Democratic friends. And never have been been in the trenches and never been in the streets talking to people. And yet, as you continue to grow, you know, you went to the Comedy Central thing and then joined politics, had to start again from the bottom, and you right back where you got to when you were doing comedy. In my opinion, that just demonstrates that being principled while doing what you love is the best way to be successful. And when you bring other people along like you've done with Ron, giving him the cover that you're giving him, Matt, you know, I know about you bringing your intern on when you were able to do that. That's amazing, and that's actually a lesson that I feel like the entire progressive movement should learn from. If you're trying to be an independent journalist out there, remember how Jimmy did it. And I want to say thank you once again, because when everybody else, by the way, was trying to discount my efforts in the DNC for All lawsuit and were ignoring me specifically because I was a journalist, so they didn't want to give me any clout in that regard. When you found out I was involved, and everybody want to call Jimmy a fucking white supremacist, that shit pissed me off. I'm like, all y'all motherfuckers was pretending like y'all didn't know who I was, and Jimmy called me personally. He's like, DM me, got my number. Hey, let's talk on the phone. I had no idea you were involved. Let's get you on the show. I was out there a week later. So, and of course, we've done very, very well since then. So I appreciate you, Jimmy, and I'm sure the movement does as well.
Well, thanks for all your support. Hashtag Force the Vote, ForceTheVote.org. That's what this is about. It's not about me. I'm going to be okay with my YouTube show. So let's make sure we pressure politicians. We scare the shit out of them. We make them afraid to do the wrong thing, or else they'll be out on their ass. And whenever they do something wrong, I'm going to rake them across the coals. And that's what I urge every other independent news media to do. Rake them across the coals. Make them afraid to do the wrong thing. We got to have the pressure out here. And if they know that we're going to rake them over the coals, they're going to stand up against Nancy Pelosi. So thanks again, Niko. I'll see you next time.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, always remember, more than anything else, find your...
Well, first, find my what?